World's oldest color has been discovered by scientists. It turns out bright pink is the oldest color in the world. According to a recent study from Australian National University, pink pigment was found in the marine black shales deep beneath the Sahara Desert in Africa. The researchers reportedly crushed the rocks into powder, then extracted and analyzed the molecules of ancient organisms inside those rocks. The bright pink pigment discovered was actually the molecular fossils of chlorophyll produced by ancient photosynthetic organisms living in the Asian Ocean, which no longer exist. The fossils themselves range from blood red to deep purple in concentrated form and turn bright pink when they're diluted. The researcher involved in the study commented, saying that after analyzing the ancient pigment, can confirm tiny cyanobacteria used to live in the ocean 8 billion years ago. Ancient oceans filled with cyanobacteria started to disappear around 650 million years ago, which is when algae started to spread rapidly and help the ecosystems to evolve. Under the sea. Global warming is killing our oceans. A new study predicts that within 15 to 20 years, human-caused deoxygenation will be felt across the world's oceans. With climate change warming sea waters, oxygen levels in the world's oceans are beginning to drop. Surface water with higher temperatures absorb less oxygen. Such surface water is also more buoyant, so oxygen is less likely to make it into deeper water. The resulting conditions are dangerous to marine ecosystems, which depend on oxygen for survival. With the threat already underway, changes in the southern Indian Ocean and parts of the Pacific and Atlantic will be felt as early as 2030. Oceans in eastern Africa, Australia, and Southeast Asia, however, won't feel the impact until the next century. Worsening the effects of deoxygenation is an increase in carbon dioxide, causing oceans to be more acidic and less habitable. Researchers say carbon emissions must be reduced if we want to slow the oxygen loss, but monitoring and understanding where the oxygen levels are dipping and how it's impacting our waters is also key.
Faceless fish found in the abyss. Australian scientists have discovered a faceless deep-sea fish off Australia's east coast during a month-long expedition. The Sampling the Abyss expedition begins from Bell Bay, Tasmania, and ends in Brisbane. The investigator research vessel is equipped with multi-beam sonar that can map the structure of the seafloor. The expedition surveys the abyssal level, up to 6,000 meters deep in the ocean. Sleds, dredgers, and grabbers are deployed in order to collect samples of animals and sediment. Scientists said animals in the abyss are often small and move slowly, and many of them don't have eyes or produce their own light through bioluminescence.
Another catastrophe caused by climate change. Japan's coral reefs are in danger. According to a government study, rising sea temperatures have impacted the ability of Japan's biggest coral reef to recover from bleaching, resulting in only 1% of the reef being in good health. Due to rising sea temperature, the reef has suffered bleaching events in 1998, 2001, 2007, and 2016, leading to a decrease in the overall coral volume by nearly 80% in the Tsukise Lagoon. A Japanese ministry official said that the loss of rich animal life under the sea would have a grave impact on the ecosystem in the region. The lagoon is approximately 67.89 square kilometers, with only around 1.4% of its corals healthy. According to scientists, it takes at least 10 to 20 years for coral to recover from a bleaching event. Coral reefs are home to 25% of sea life, even though they only make up 1% of marine environment. The only way for the coral to recover is if sea temperatures drop and algae are able to recolonize them again.
Netizens slam frozen fish feature at Japanese skating rink. A Fukuoka theme park thought it would be a good idea to put thousands of dead fish under the ice at their skating rink, and is now badly regretting that decision. Space World apparently thought the idea of gliding over a wide variety of sea creatures would be a unique draw for customers. So operators bought 5,000 dead fish and arranged them around the rink, along with blown-up photos of larger marine animals. When images of the theme park centerpiece got around, they were met with outrage after netizens thought the fish were frozen to death. Despite the clarification that live fish weren't used, most didn't see the appeal, calling the concept weird, cruel, and disgusting. The park was met with a barrage of criticism and calls to boycott the attraction. So much so that they decided to close it down on November 27th. Space World is now melting the rink and will reportedly hold a memorial service for the fish sometime next year. Rest in peace, fishies!
Those poor animals. Scientists are concerned by a massive shark die-off in San Francisco Bay, but are unable to get state funding to research the exact cause. 2,000 leopard sharks and hundreds of bat rays, smooth-hound sharks, striped bass, and halibut have turned up dead on San Francisco Bay between February and July of this year. The culprit is suspected to be a parasite known as Miamiensis avidus, which enters the shark's nose and eats away at its brain. When the animal eventually succumbs to the parasite, it either swims aimlessly in circles or beaches itself. But scientists say only a small fraction end up on shore. Sharks aren't naturally buoyant, so the infected ones sink to the bottom of the ocean once they stop swimming. Leopard sharks are the most commonly spotted victims of the parasite, but it's a lesser concern for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife since the species is not endangered. Scientists fear, however, that other species are also becoming infected and dying, but just aren't washing up on shore. They also worry that the parasite could spread farther along the California coast. It might soon be a permanent game over for coral reefs. Warming waters are hurting the world's coral reefs almost 5 times more than they did 30 years ago. Scientists looked at bleaching data in 100 coral reefs. They found that the frequency of bleaching from warmer waters increased 5-fold from once every few decades to once every 6 years. Bleaching occurs when the reef reacts to stressful changes in temperature, light, nutrients, and other conditions. This makes the reef eject the symbiotic algae in their tissue and turn pale white. Corals can survive and even recover, but continued bleaching eventually leads to death. According to the National Ocean Service, coral reefs are considered sessile animals, meaning they're fixed to one place. The World Wildlife Fund says they provide almost $30 billion in goods and services every year. They're also important for tourism, coast protection against heavy storms, typhoons, and even tsunamis.